Hey, welcome to class, everyone. Tonight's theme is about self worth and especially about dealing with feelings of unworthiness. At least that was going to be the topic, but I don't know if we're really worthy of being able to do a class on that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're up for it.
Yeah, we're not the right people for this.
We
So,
don't.
welcome to the class, everyone. My name is Dr. Asatar Bear, and it's my co teacher, Leah Schaefer.
Hi, welcome everybody.
So,
Mm,
of course, we teach heart rhythm meditation. It's a method that
mm,
comes out of Sufism. And, we're here every week. If you'd like to support the class, please visit the Patreon links in the description. And, each week we choose a theme. And our process is we think about what would help us. That's that's how we do this. But of course, we welcome
Uh,
your questions and
mm,
anything you'd like to suggest to us, we'd be more
yeah.
than happy to do it. Um,
If you ever have something you'd like us to cover, let us know.
yeah, sometimes that happens. We get interesting questions and comments from people, but I think that when you really know what the problem is, you kind of halfway there, you know? Like, a lot of times,
Yeah.
we don't even know what the problem is,
One would like to hope that anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what to ask, right? Like, what are we you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, goodness.
What do you think of when you think about this topic for yourself, Leah?
What I think about, not only for myself, but just in general, is that it's very pervasive. That I feel like we're more or less taught to have relatively low self-worth. Like, even if you're a narcissist, sorry, but even if like you actually are like more narcissistic, it's actually coming from low self-esteem. So, like, even if you are, like, what people might term ego driven, right? Like, or egocentric or egotistical, it has to do with having really low self-esteem. So, I think that
Yeah,
most people have this issue, so you're not alone. Um, I feel like we're not really taught how to have a fundamental sense of self-worth in general. Like, we are not trained how to have a sense of self-worth, from within ourselves.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
always like it's always like, once I have X, Y, and Z, then maybe I will be proving to myself that I am worthy of something.
Well, that's the problem with making it about external stuff, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because we automatically have less control over external things, and we're talking about something. It's a kind of existential thing, right? So that means you should have it by virtue of existing, right? And so
Mhm.
if we start there, I think for me, sometimes it's helpful just kind of philosophically to think, you know, I am what am I, right? Who am I? I'm a spiritual being that's having this physical experience.
I love that. A spiritual being of a human in a
Yeah,
human
having this human
experience.
experience, and my spirit is completely unlimited, infinite, and perfect.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, well, what is greater than that? What is that unlimited being not worthy of? What is God not worthy of? Right? If you pose the question that way, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe it's kind of actually disrespectful toward my inner nature to see things that way. To
Yeah.
go around, oh my God, I'm not worthy.
Yeah, and they're like awakening to the divinity, awakening to the divinity within,
Yeah,
allows us to gain a greater sense of confidence. Like, there's a few sayings by Hazrat Naya Khan. One of them is like, through God realization, you have self realization.
yeah,
So it's like this realizing the divinity within, realizing your connection to all things, helps awaken the true sense of self.
right.
In knowing your own worthiness. There's another saying, it says, "I consider myself second to none, since I have realized within myself the one and only being."
Mm,
And so it's again unity consciousness, like saying like, how can I be secondary to something? But that also means there's only one and only being, so everything is equal, not necessarily in fact, but in truth.
yeah, yeah. Well, we have a comment here from our dear friend, shocker. I have thought,
Hello.
mad, gloomy, that if one has nothing to respect, one will have no self-respect, one will disrespect others, and one will associate with people one doesn't respect. Yeah, I think there's something to that.
Mhm. Mhm.
When you have self-respect, it's quite easy to show respect toward others, right? Um,
Yeah.
you think about like, well, how would I want to be treated, or just how should a person be treated, right? And of course, you
Yeah.
get back what you give, right? So when you when you give respect, you get respect, and
Yeah, and it has to do with, like, having a sense of integrity,
yeah.
I also think, like, a person can be very, like, I am nothing kind of energy, but still have a lot of sense of self-worth at the same time. Like, I think that those 2 can be coincided, but I think it's really rare. It's, like,
Sometimes
not
people
that
seem
often.
sanctimonious about that, right? Like
Yes.
I'm way more nothing than you are, like
Yeah, no and sometimes people are like, I am, like, the shit on the back of a heel or whatever, know? And they're the funniest, like, most likable people, and they don't mean it they don't mean it so much like, it's they almost, like, know their worth more in a way. Like, it's rare, it does happen. But mo I would say most of us, though, are kind of like beggars, you know?
I want to see for myself. I think
Uh,
when I like reflect on my journey, my childhood,
mhm,
I feel like there's something about like a illusion of control,
mhm,
like a part of myself is like I'm bad, I deserve bad things. If I
mhm.
punish myself first, then bad things won't happen to me,
It's interesting.
as if that were true, right? Like as if we could control,
Yeah.
what happens to us through that
And
attitude. Can't,
and
right?
the other framework, which I think is very, like, much a part of our culture is, like, if you just chase the carrot that we're telling you you want, such as the white picket fence or whatever it's gonna be, if you chase that carrot, then if you attain it, like, everybody has equal opportunity. And and if you just chase the carrot, then your hard work will pay off and you'll have the life you always wanted. And then so like then we like blame ourselves, like, "Oh, my life didn't work out perfectly. I must be shit." Because
Yeah,
like I've been told my whole life that if I just work hard, then everything will work out. And that's really a big lie.
that's not
Um,
true. No.
yeah. And
I
in
mean,
fact, like most people are killing themselves working so hard and they're getting punished even for that, and they can't get out of the grips of that. And it creates a sense of like it's a sense of worthlessness because we're not treating people with value. In our culture, there's not enough people being treated for their own value. And that is like this negative feedback cycle that happens to a lot of us.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, completely. Um,
Mm.
I
Or
also want to say
yeah.
I think there's some idealism in that unworthiness. There's a kind of um, idealism that's like in its infancy. Because like when like think about like another person, like if you say like, oh wow, I so attracted to that person or whatever, but I could never be with a person like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You're putting that person up on a pedestal, you know
Mhm.
and that's what the ideal is, right? Like the ideal is that which you hold sacred, that which you put up on a pedestal. I mean, that's not a great thing to do with another person, especially a person you want to have like a close relationship with, right? Because
Mhm.
you're in for a disappointment, right? People are human, and you know person's not going to stay up on a pedestal,
Yeah.
especially if you get to know them, um,
Yep.
so
Yep. The disillusionment. Well, but also like somebody that's really and on the other side of the coin, I know a lot of people who are extraordinarily wealthy, but they still don't have a sense of self-worth. Their worth is all tied up into can I maintain my wealth?
right.
And so
That's the
that's
message we get, right? you
mhm,
know
yeah.
you don't have worth, but your money, on the other hand, That
Your money, humans, they're expendable. The
yeah,
money, that's
money
what
is
has worth.
what's good. Yeah, right.
God, no
The
wonder we're
exact
all so
opposite of
messed
the truth.
up. We're all so messed up from this mentality. I mean, God, no wonder, right?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
let's fix it.
right. How do we go about that? That's the mystery, right? We're diagnosing the problem. I think what we're saying is probably not all that controversial. The question is, how do we
I'm just trying to say if you have low self-worth, you are not alone. In fact, I think it's very reinforced because if we figured out how powerful we are and we figured out how incredible we are, we will be unstoppable, we will be unbreakable,
Yeah,
and that will overthrow the oppressors. And I think that there's a big reason that a lot of us struggle with this. It's very much like ingrained.
yeah.
Um, so let's work on it so we can overthrow our oppressors.
All right.
Yes, great. All right, everybody. Go ahead, and sometimes our oppressors are in our own head too. You just you
We
never
always use
know.
that for sure.
Those voices in our heads, right, that are telling us we're not enough, not worthy. Okay, as usual, we're going to start with our breath. You want to start by deepening your breath, and every single day, your breathing capacity will be different. I learned this weekend that prana rides on the breath, but prana is a life force energy, and we're pulling it through our breath. So you're pulling life force energy, the larger life, through your body using your breath. So the deeper you can go, the better. A lot of times when I say breathe deeply, people breathe a lot of volume into their chest. And so you want to breathe into your low abdomen instead. Want to bring your breath deep down. And let yourself explore that. Like today, my diaphragm is really tight. I don't know why it is, it just is. And so it's harder to breathe deeper. And I have to warm that muscle up. And so that's what we're doing. You're breathing all the way to the base of your abdomen. And you're increasing the volume of your breath. And you're trying to move your breath deeper and deeper and deeper down, all the way toward your tailbone, but filling through your whole torso, filling through all the organs. And then a lot of the exhalation is natural, but we hold stagnant air in. And so you want to finish your exhalation. And you might surprise yourself when you try that. You might surprise yourself how much more breath is available to you than you thought might be. Like still saying, can I go a little longer? Can I go a little further? And I'm really noticing today in particular that my breath is really off. I can't just go right into my rhythmic breathing. And I bet that's what most people experience who when we don't practice regularly. And this is like a warm up, when we exercise, we have to warm up. And we have to warm our breath up. Our diaphragm muscle is a big muscle, and we have these patterns. We have these patterns of how we breathe. And we're changing those patterns, and so it takes time. You want to explore, can I breathe deeper? And then you want to start to fill your breath into your back body, opening your back ribs. Seeing how far you can exhale. And then explore again, bringing your breath really deep and opening up your side ribs. And you might even hold your breath at the top of your inhalation a little bit to help open up the capacity of your breath. We're opening the capacity of breathing. Remember to exhale all the way. I really love this phrase, self-realization through God realization. If you don't like the G word, you can replace that with cosmic consciousness, self-realization through cosmic consciousness realization. Or finding the verbiage that works for you, meaning the same thing. In other words, we're opening to the infinite, from the finite to the infinite. And just kind of, as you deepen your breath, just start to almost say that to yourself. We're not worried so much. We're going to practice it, but first just saying it to yourself. How does that land? And put it on your breath as you continue to deepen your breathing. You know, these these oppressors that I was speaking about earlier, I just think it's so important because it gives us that exact obstacle toward us gaining our greater sense of self-worth. It can be my own voice in my own head telling me I'm not enough, telling me I'm not worthy of love. Here's all the evidence of why I'm not worthy of love. That's an oppressive thought I'm having. It's an oppressive story, an oppressive narrative I'm giving myself. Or maybe in a different case, like, being in the relationship with a taker, being in a relationship with someone who is somewhat cruel or mean to you. Could be someone in your family, could be someone that you work with. And sometimes, like, we have a lot of anger toward that person, but sometimes the words permeate or the actions permeate through us, and we think this is a reflection of me, and it's not. It's a reflection of them. Again, it's coming from the narrative. What's the narrative you're having around your pain, around your challenges of becoming who you know yourself to be in your heart of hearts? You keep deepening your breath and start to make your breath more rhythmic. We're gonna work on that more as we go. But just start to feel like you're breathing in this wave-like manner, this rhythmic manner, as you continue to do deep, full breath, moving the life force through your body. And ask yourself as you do this, ask yourself, like, what are your narratives that are causing you to stay small or that are causing you internal pain, not knowing your own value, or feeling like you don't have value, don't have worth because of something that has happened. Notice your own narratives, notice your own story. Continue to deepen your breath with love and compassion as you reveal these things to yourself. And it's always the first step is always just to acknowledge like what's holding us into these narratives and acknowledging what the narratives are. And now let's go ahead and find our heart. So start by listening for your heart. Now we're focusing on our heart. And as you focus on your heart, feel the way your deep breathing is affecting your heart as you breathe. And then, if you haven't already, try to start to sense your heartbeat. So, as you're breathing deep, full breath, try to sense your heartbeat, even if it's just one time. You could hold your breath at the top of your inhalation to help you attune with your heartbeat. If this practice is new for you, that can be a lot to juggle just by itself. I'm going to keep adding things on, and just know that this is a practice, that life is a practice, and this is one of the practices we're doing in life. There's never a set end. The road is going up and down, deeper vistas, higher heights, and the journey's going to continue to be continuous. You're never going to be set. You're never going to be there. There's no magical hill to get over, and then you'll feel everything is perfect. Life is a practice. Loving ourselves, loving others, it's a constant practice. Meditation is a constant practice. When I put meditation down for a long time or put it in a drawer for a long time, I come back to it. I don't have the same access as I did before. It's a practice. It's never set. And so don't worry about it if we have it right this time, we have it wrong next time. When we continue to practice, we will have amazing experiences. And we will have experiences where we don't do well, and that's okay. It's all part of it. It's not supposed to be set. It would be really boring if it was. And so in this practice, practice feeling your heartbeat the whole duration of your breath, and you can help yourself to do that. If you can't feel your heartbeat as you breathe, you can help yourself to do that by placing your palm on your heart, trying to feel your heartbeat through your hand. Or you can move to a pulse point. So maybe I'm going to grab my wrist of my hand that's on my heart. Or maybe I'm going to try to find a different pulse point on your throat. The pulse is the echo of the heartbeat. And then listen and feel for your heartbeat your whole duration of breath. And you want to practice toward breathing 8 heartbeats in and 8 heartbeats out. And at first, it's easier to count. And so you might start by just counting how many heartbeats can you inhale for, and taking a few breaths like that. And then now working with your exhalation, how many heartbeats can you exhale for? Taking a few breath cycles, just counting your heartbeats on your exhale. And you're going to work toward 8 heartbeats in, 8 heartbeats out. And that's going to take some time to develop. It's going to take practice, but one day it will become natural. Feeling your heartbeat without the pulse point will become natural with practice. Now, these 2 things have been with you since your birth, and your heart has been with you before that. Your heartbeat's been with you since I don't know, 21 days after conception, you have your heartbeat. And this, just think about that for a minute. They've been with you your whole life, just right there and within you, whole time. And yet, this deep, full breathing and this access to our heartbeat and this breathing with our heartbeat can feel so far away from us, and it can feel so foreign, but they've been there all along. And if our own heart and our own breath can feel this far away from us, how much further still can it be that you have the realization of the inherent divinity within your own heart? See, the divinity within you is and always was there. Your inner light, your inner love, beyond the form. But it can feel so far away and it can feel so foreign. But it's right there within your own heart. And it's like you're unveiling it the more you pay attention. So really feel your heart of hearts. And to help you remember this, I highly recommend that you place a word that means the one being, a word that means God or the universe, onto your heartbeat, as if your heart is saying that word to you again and again, as if your heart is remembering. Now, there's many different languages where God has a double syllable in its meaning. And you want to choose one that suits you. If you are a Christian belief, you could say Christi, because that's not quite God, but it's very much God realization in form. Christi, Christi. I don't actually know a lot of the different religions, their use of that word, so you have to really find your own word. You could say something like the one. Could say something like omni or the all on every heartbeat. I know in Farsi it's Hoda. So really find the word that's perfect for you, that means God or means the universe to you. And place it on your heartbeat as if you're helping your heart remember your inherent connection with all things, the divinity that resides within even with all the limitation. Good. And then let's just take a moment and see the effect that has on your heart when you do this. And this is the practice. This is where it begins for your remembrance of, of realizing who you really are and realizing your own worth. Remembering to that which is already there. And then let's go ahead and move our bodies and open up our eyes.
Nice meditation. Thank you, Leanne.
Thank you.
Our friend Akbar Caduce is here. Who says self-realization through goddess realization.
Even better.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it is really important as a female, if you identify as female, that all of the texts that we read often say he, him, and how much further God can feel because of that from you. And so changing those words, flipping those words to she, her can help a lot with that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's it's interesting what an impact that can make.
It's
Um,
surprising. Yeah.
yeah, it's a small it's a pronoun change, right? But it's a can have a big effect. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
Sufis talk so much about making God understandable, relatable. And
Mhm.
this is where the ideal comes in. Right? How do you understand God? What do you see as ideal? Um,
Yeah.
it's going to be different for everyone, and just how important that is, right? That our minds can't hold, um, the all. Our minds can't hold that. We need some way of making it comprehensible. Um,
Yes, that's right. And that is what helps us with the sages and prophets. They help us to make these things more comprehensible. They're
right.
like stepping stones to God realization.
Yeah, because we see, well, what is that? What is it like in a person? What is
Mm-hmm.
the result of the spiritual path in a person's manner and the way that they are. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that makes it a lot more comprehensible, right, than any
It
kind of
does.
theory that you could have or text that you could read or whatever. Uh,
It's how we identify, and this is actually such an important thing is that we have a mirror that we can identify with.
yeah,
If you see somebody and you think, wow, you wouldn't be able to recognize what you're seeing in them if it wasn't within you. And let
yeah.
let let them be that mirror for you and recognize that they are a mirror for what's already within.
It's important
Mm.
that we understand that we experience our true nature, and that we start out with a proper grasp of it, right? That our true nature is not you know, sin or wickedness or, whatever like this, right? Like that our true nature is perfect and unbounded. but and yet has a unique qualities, it has a unique combination of qualities, let's say, right? They're universal qualities, but just as like different color lights, it's different wavelengths of light, Um,
Mm.
so we
I
that's
like
like
that.
each one of us, right? We're each a ray of light. So, it's the same thing, right? But maybe it might look different, right? It has different quality. So
Yeah, it's that universal life force living through each of us as like a lens, and we're gonna have our unique expression.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
exactly.
you can be like, I just want to reinforce like you're not, it's not, the idea is not that you're gonna be perfect and then you have these realizations. It's more like you're tapping into something that's already there and something that can't be taken away from you ever. I mean, yeah, I think even somebody that has done horrible things, eventually they return to the one. It might take a lot longer, but eventually they return to the one life. And so it's like this idea of like finding that within you that's already there, that which is in you right now, even with all the mistakes.
Right. Because, like, what do all horrible things have in common? They have in common that we're seeing the other person as separate. You know, that's not us, right? You can't do something horrible to somebody else when you see them, see us all as one, right? That's not
Mm,
possible. And then, what is it that keeps you in this place of suffering? It's that same thing, So
mhm.
it's kind of built in, you know. Um, Justice is built in spiritually, let's say, right? And not always
Yeah,
in the outer world, but in the inner world.
yeah. And then, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
All right. Would you like to guide us, Asatar? Are you
let's
ready?
do our next meditation. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So um, we're in a good spot now, having this wonderful vibration built up from Leah's meditation. So we can very easily slip back into meditative posture. That wonderful feeling that comes from just bringing the spine into alignment, feeling that lifting force as if a thread is lifting just the very top of your head, and feeling your weight naturally resting on your sits bones, your spine in alignment, not leaning too far forward, not leaning too far back, not hunching the back, but opening the chest. It's going to be in a neutral position, but since we spend so much of our time kind of hunching and our heads are down, to have our heads level and our chest neutral, it feels very open. So now we tune into the breath and we follow the basic steps part of the meditation. We are trying to perfect the breath now, to make the breath deep, slow, rhythmic, heart centered, and full. Deep means to breathe in down deep in your belly. So your belly expands as you inhale. I breathe in, I feel it as a kind of stretch in my belly. And there's something that feels very comforting about breathing deep in the belly, like how babies breathe, like how you breathe when you may be going to sleep, or maybe when you just woken up. As you bring your breath down deep into your body, your energy settles down. Your energy moves out of your head, out of your thoughts, into your body. And as you exhale, your belly contracts and your belly button moves toward your spine. So you should feel a lot of movement in your belly now. And just this practice of breathing down deep in your belly and being in your body, being with your sensations. This can be an antidote to that feeling of unworthiness because you feel, I'm here, I am alive, I exist. And it's completely separate from any kind of judgment of that because the unworthiness, that feeling, that's a judgment. It says, oh, if this, then that. I'm worthy if this, right? I'm not if not. There's something very powerful in simply being and just laying aside those judgments, letting yourself be as a mountain. You can think whatever you want of a mountain. You can say, oh, that's a good mountain or a bad mountain. I hate that mountain so much. But the mountain will still be. Now we work on making the breath slow. So extend the exhalation and extend the inhalation. Now, probably just breathing down deep in your belly has already made your breath somewhat slower. So just work with that, extend that, always striving to be conscious of your breath, to be conscious of this fundamental energetic flow. By slowing down your breath, you slow down your rhythm. Slowing down your rhythm enhances that feeling of just being. It brings peace. It even slows the rhythm of your thoughts and even the rhythm of your feelings. Now, of course, this may take some time to perceive. You might say to yourself, what is Dr. Bear saying? My thoughts are the same as they were. You sit like this and do this practice for a while and then come out of it and tell me if that's the case. Now it is time to bring the self into balance, and we do that by bringing the breath into balance. And that means to have a balance between the inhalation and the exhalation. And we do this by rhythmic breathing. The inhalation making it the same length and intensity as the exhalation. And we can, at the same time, make it heart centered by counting the beats of the heart as you breathe in and making that the same number as the beats of your heart as you breathe out. And now we come to the part of the practice that not everyone can do right away. Perhaps half may be able to feel the heartbeat and half cannot. So here I am telling you to do something that you might not be able to do. And let me just say, if you can do it, that's good. Begin to count the beats of your heart and use the same number on the inhalation as the exhalation. Choose the number that feels right to you. If you practice this over time, I would like you to get to 8 beats in, 8 beats out. That might not be the right number for today, but something to shoot for. And if you cannot feel your heart beating, just listen for it, tune into it. Maybe place a hand on your chest. Lightly press with your fingertips on your breastbone, bringing awareness toward your heart, bringing concentration. There's a stream of energy that flows down each arm. By bringing your hand to your chest, you take that energetic stream and focus it on your heart. You can even try both hands. And if none of this works and you don't feel your heartbeat, don't let that trouble you. Just do your best to make your breathing an even rhythm, same length inhalation as exhalation. You can count in your mind what you imagine your heartbeat might be. You're probably not far off. There's probably a part of you that can feel that heartbeat, even if it doesn't rise to the level of your conscious awareness. The final step is to make the breath full. And that means now we are doing more than just breathing in the belly. We are completing the exhalation, we are completing the inhalation, and that means using substantially more abdominal muscles. So breathing all the way out, really squeezing those abdominal muscles. Visualize pulling your belly button in like you're pulling a bag closed, pulling the strings of a bag. And then as you inhale, opening that belly, expanding the belly, and then allowing that expansion to continue, opening up the sides of the body, and then breathing into the chest so that perhaps half of your breath occurs in the belly and half in your chest, going all the way up to your collarbone. So, normally, the amount of movement that is in your trunk when you breathe is very small. Now it should be very big. If you were to look in the mirror at yourself breathing, you should be seeing visible movement. That is the meaning of the full breath, and I'll tell you, it's difficult to learn. It's as difficult as changing any fundamental pattern. It's as difficult as speaking a different way or walking a different way. Breathing's a very fundamental pattern, very ingrained. So to breathe differently takes a tremendous amount of concentration, tremendous amount of focus. And you might be saying, I thought meditation was supposed to be easy. I thought it was supposed to be relaxing. This isn't relaxing. I'm having to focus to the utmost, and I can't even do all of this. Huh. Might be rather frustrating. So now is the moment where you must have faith in me that I would not tell you to do this if it wasn't important. Because breathing fully gives you access to the full power of the breath, to the full range of who you are as a being. It gives you access to your full power. As you breathe all the way out, test your concentration, test your faith. Will there be breath for me to take in if I give everything that I've given, if I breathe out everything that I have? But of course, if you empty yourself, then you can be filled. Control your inhalation. The more forcefully you breathe out, the more you must have control when you begin the inhalation. Do not allow the breath to rush in. Keep some tension in your belly as you allow that belly to expand. You're not just letting it flop open, you're controlling that inhalation. Expanding the ribs, the side of the body, and expanding the chest. And as you breathe in this manner, consider that your being is unlimited. That your spirit has always been and will always be. That everything you know about yourself, every quality that you know of yourself, maybe you enjoy things, you have a lot of joy in you. That is a timeless, eternal, perfect quality. Maybe you're very brave. Again, that is a timeless, perfect quality. Maybe you feel very connected to others. Maybe you're very sensitive. You feel things very deeply. All of these are aspects of your being, and each one is perfect and unlimited. So now, whatever thought you're having, whatever feeling you're having, whatever sensation you're having, consider that that is coming through your heart. You're breathing into your heart now, feeling your heart, feeling your heart's energy. And your heart is the vessel of your soul, that timeless, unbounded, infinite energy that is you, that is your nature. Sufis used the metaphor of the king and the queen to describe the soul. Say, that is your nature. You are a king. You are a queen. That is who you really are. Of course, they're using it as a metaphor. They mean nothing connected to, the monarchies and whatever of the past. They're talking about it as a metaphor since people are familiar with that, since there's a long history of monarchy, and they're saying that is like your spirit. Your spirit is a queen or a king. And take that point of view. Imagine how a queen might regard things. "Well, is this too good for me? Am I not worthy of this?" Of course not. This is for me. This is my place. This life is for me to experience. I am here to follow my desires. But of course, those desires must be tested, they must be purified. Because you can't follow every single one, can you? You have to choose. And being forced to choose makes us think about what is really important, what really matters. Because life is short. It's too short to spend on something that doesn't matter. So you need to know, what is it that really matters. That is where you must put your focus. That is where you must put your time, your energy. And you know that by going down deep into your heart. And the more you do that, the more you feel worthy of all that this life has to offer. And the drive to expand, to develop, to perfect oneself is so strong. It's an aspect of our inner God nature. God has an enormous desire for manifestation, for becoming, for growth, for development, or the realization of potential. And that potential is so big, there's always room to grow. Oh, if I could give you a blessing, it would be that you always find new ways to grow toward your infinite potential. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide with you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore.
Mm,
And when you're ready, you can end your meditation here.
mm, mm. Thank you. Mm,
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. I felt some good vibration that we were doing here together.
mhm. Yeah. Mm,
Um, Oh, our friend Andrew is here saying thank you. Good to see you. Thank
Andrew, thank you.
you. We will be back
Mm,
next week. So until then, please let us know if you have
mm,
something you'd like us to discuss. Otherwise, we will continue to do what we do.
mm.
Just think about what is it we need.
Yeah, no, I'm really touched by the meditation Asatar, and I really hope that each of us can experience this divinity within us. And even when we do, we have to remember again and again, practice again and again. And so just know that that's a part of it. So really returning to your own divinity, your own um, royalty, the royalty within you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
All right, everyone. Take care
Mm.
and have a good night. We'll see you all next week.
Good night, everyone.